Hi everyone, it's Karen at Close to My Heart, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this darling Slimline card. You can tell that it is a shaker card. Hopefully you can see those cute little bits shaking around in there. And today we're going to make this card and teach you all the tricks that we use to create all the fun details here. You may or may not be able to see, hopefully on camera you can see that there's some blue shadowing behind those penguins. There's these cute little iridescent sequin flowers. We've got a couple of layers here of cricketed pieces, so all kinds of fun things. The first thing I want to show you, so that you can recreate it on your own if you'd like to, is the pieces of paper you're going to need to create this project. So right here I've just created you kind of a little diagram. If you want to use the exact same papers we used, this is from the Party Time paper packet. And for those of you who are watching and know how to screenshot and are wanting to recreate that card exactly, you might want to screenshot what you see right now in front of you. So we took this piece, 8.5 by 3.5 from the Party Time paper packet. This is our Distress watercolor paper. It looks like this right here, and you can order that from us as well. And we cut a 7 3/4 by 2 3/4 piece, and we're going to use it on the smooth side. There's a rough side and a smooth side, and they're both usable. Then we're using light flamingo cardstock in several different pieces. This 8.5 by 3.5, actually I wrote that wrong, that's actually 8.5 by 2, excuse that. Then a 1/2 by 1/2 piece of light flamingo, and we cut that into a banner. And then this cricket piece. You're going to use our light ballerina cardstock and do a cricket piece. And these two cricket pieces that you see here, we've created a design space file for you to use. If you are watching this video on our blog, it's right here on our blog post. And also some white daisy cardstock that we'll die cut. This is a 2-inch circle that we just cut on our cricket. And then these two little penguins you're going to see in just a moment. One more thing to note, to be able to use this design space file, you'll just need to own the Art Philosophy collection from Close to My Heart, and you'll be able to cut those pieces. And we've done a little bit of editing and stretching and adding lines and things so that it works for this card, but that's the collection they came from, and so if you own that collection, you'll be able to use that design space file. So let's pull this out of the way. We need a Slimline card, which are so much fun. These folded are 3.5 by 8.5. They're kind of the big thing in paper crafting right now. So we'll just fold that in half and add our piece of the Party Time paper here with the presents. You can see our paper's two-sided. One side's got pink presents, the other side is the blue on this one. We're going with the pink to match what we are doing on this card. And we'll add that to our card front. Then we're going to take that 8.5 by 3-inch piece of light flamingo and add that right on top. Just right down the center. And then I'm going to set that aside for just a moment. I'm going to bring in my Versamat so that I can do some stamping. I'm going to turn it to the other side, which is foamy, which is great for stamping on. Now we mentioned those penguin die cuts. We have a darling set of penguins with matching dies called Winter Penguins. You can see that there are die cuts for the penguins here and lots of cute little penguins to choose from. We'll be using this stamp set. We'll also be using the Happy Birthday from Little Miss Message, which is D1984. And we'll be using a border stamp from the February 2021 stamp of the month called Doodled Borders. If you're a VIP customer with us, you can get this free this month, and you can get it at a discount with a qualifying order as a regular customer. We're going to use that cute dotted border. So we have 3 different stamp sets we're using and some dies. So I've already pre-cut my dies and done a little bit of stamping here. Thought I'd just show you that really quickly. So on those 2 penguin dies, I've stamped those just with our Intense Black stamp pad, which is formulated for coloring in with markers or watercolors, any kinds of things like that. I have stamped Happy Birthday on that 2-inch circle with our Nectarine stamp pad. And then I have stamped that doodle border, which I'm going to show you here in just a second because I think that there's a trick that you'll enjoy learning to stamp on this, just right here around the edge. And I'm not sure how well that will show on camera, but it really is a fun detail in person. And I'm going to stamp that border for you right now with some flamingo ink. So we'll open up our doodled borders here. And in order to cut these penguins, all you need is some sort of die cutting and embossing machine. We're going to take that little dotted border and add it to an acrylic block. Our acrylic blocks come with a little line across the bottom, so that helps you be able to line things up really easily. So we'll just line that right up on our block so we have it nice and straight. And I'll grab another one of these that I've pre-cut so that you can watch me stamp it. Our cardstock is light on one side and then the true color on the other. We're using the light side of flamingo. It makes our cardstock so versatile because you can use it for so many different things and get those two-tone shades. So I'll just ink up my border stamp and I'm going to start stamping it. I actually need to straighten that guy out on the end a little bit. There we go. Gonna start stamping it right along the inner frame here. And you can see right through the block, so it's easy to line up as you go. The problem is if I stamp it this next time, I'm gonna go further than I want on the side. So I'm just gonna mask that with a sticky note. Just gonna put that where I want those dots to end so that I don't go too far. And then I'm ready to easily turn this and do the next stamp. And because this is a short end, I need to do that little masking trick again, because this very first stamp is going to want to go a little too far. And then I can work my way all the way around doing that little masking trick so that those little dots just stop exactly where I want them to in the corners. So we'll move that out of the way because, like I said, we've already got these stamped ahead of time, this one. And we're going to do some really fun techniques here as we prepare to create this card. The first thing I'm going to do is bring in the watercolor, the distress watercolor cardstock. And like I said, I'm not sure how well this will show, but one side's rough and the other's smooth. We're gonna use this smooth side. We're going to use our Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide ink and our mini ink blending tool. And I like to have a little, these are removable. You can see that those come right off. I have one of these for every color of my Distress Oxide inks. And we're just going to create a little bit of a shadow that's going to go behind two of the two penguins in two of those windows. So I'm gonna put my little shadows right about here. And I've inked up my paper, and I'm just gonna use that sticky note. Inked up my tool. I'm just gonna use this to just get a little extra off, and I'm just going to slightly rub that. And you can see how it's adding some color, and it's just so beautifully blended on this paper. Just adding a little bit more. And if you get a little bit more somewhere than you want, you just keep moving it with your blending tool and it looks amazing. We're gonna add another one down on this end. So these will peek through those shaker windows behind our penguins. All right, I've got that ready to go. Now, the next step is to get our acetate pieces for those windows. So as you can see with these shaker bits, you're gonna have to have some sort of plastic here that creates your shaker. And we sell different shapes of acetate and matching squares. These squares are not the exact same size as the ones we've cut, so we would need to cut these squares down a little bit. So I'll grab a trimmer. And if you don't have this, you could use a page protector and cut down a page protector. There's lots of different ways you could use the create your acetate windows. You could even, if you have packaging from a product that is nice and stiff, sturdy plastic, you could use that. So I'm just cutting down a few of these squares to be the size that we need at 2 3/4. I'm gonna cut 2 at once this time. Also, these little squares come with a protective covering on them, so we'll want to remove those. It's just on one side. That cut right through 2 at once. That's handy. Saves us a little time, right? All right, we've got our 3 squares cut and ready to go. And we're going to take the Cricut cut piece that's ballerina, and we're going to be adding these to our ballerina frame. And that's the end of that adhesive. I've got another one handy here. Someone used that before me and it was near the very end. I'm adding adhesive all along the edges of these windows because our acetate pieces are going to glue right on there. And I'm just peeling off that plastic, and we'll add the windows to the back of this ballerina piece. Okay, now the next step that we need to take is to create the actual pockets that those little fun sequins are going to go in. So to do that, I'm going to take some 3D foam tape, the thinner width, and I'm just going to add it all the way around the edges and down those middles. So grabbing my scissors here to take that off so that we can create little pockets. You can see that happening as I go here to make this card. This is going to hold all of the sequins in place as we create the card. So we're just about all the way around here, and I love 3D foam tape. A lot of people like little 3D foam dots. Those are great for a lot of things too, but for something like this, I love tape because I can cut it to be whatever size I need it to be. So you can see I have a little spot right there I need to cover, and when you create a shaker, you do need to cover the whole area around that you're creating the shaker for, or else some of those sequins will make their way out. Okay, I have one more little tiny piece I need to fill in right here. All right, now we are going to grab, this is called an anti-static pouch. It's great for embossing, but it's also great for making shaker cards, because something that happens with shakers is quite often there's a little bit of static. So I'm just going to use this to get rid of any static that we might have had in there. And now we'll add those cute little iridescent flowery sequins. And I'm just going to pour a few from the bag. You don't need a ton. When you create a shaker card, you might think you need a lot. You don't need to fill much more than what you see me doing here in a shaker, because it's still going to show and do its job. If you fill it too full, it's just going to get stuck and not be able to move around. So what we're going to do next is add this piece that we created here to the back. So we're going to pull the backing now carefully without spilling our sequins off of this 3D foam tape. And we'll be ready to add the backing and add these to our card. So these little windows are now created. Can you see how cute that is? And we've got that blue shadow behind those 2 end windows. We'll just add that to our card. And now all that's left is putting things together. We're going to add our flamingo colored window that we stamped next. And it fits right on top. If you use the design space file that we provided, I think you'll be so happy with how it looks. Now we'll just add our stamped pieces. We're just going to use that 3D foam tape again and give them a little dimension. We're going to put this happy birthday right here in the center. And one penguin over here on the right side. I think on this one I'll just use regular adhesive. And he can stand right there with his cute little balloon. And this penguin over here. Now the penguins, I brought the markers to show you which markers I use. These are our alcohol markers. They're tri-blends, so you get 3 different shades of the same color. And I used for the, let's see here, for the penguin's hat and present, we used dull green. For the balloon, we used ice blue. We did a little shading on the penguins with the brown gray. We did their feet and beaks with the orange blend, and that way you are able to see which colors you would want to use. Now we cut that teeny tiny little 1/2 by 1/2 inch piece and just stamped a little heart on there from the penguin set. I'm just gonna add that right here above this penguin. And then we are ready to add some embellishments, and I think you're gonna love the embellishments that we're adding to this card. These are our Sweet Safari puffy shapes, and I'm just gonna use a few of these to even add a little more fun and personality to this card. We'll use one of these cute stitched stars and add it right over here on the side of this penguin. And then there's a cute circle with a green star in it that we're going to add, and then we're going to use another one of the exact same one and let this guy over here hold a heart in his hand. I've also added just a little bit of our silver embellishing thread to this balloon, just a little bow. I just did a couple of layers of it. And lastly, for our final touch, these are our pink acrylic hearts. I'm just going to use a teeny tiny little one right here and add it right below happy birthday with a glue dot. And there you have it. We have created a beautiful shaker card and have provided you not only with the instructions, but paper sizes and a design space file. I hope you've enjoyed your time with me today and enjoyed making this darling card.